Most people are asleep between 2 and 4 a.m. The world goes quiet. The streets empty out. Everything stops. But some people are wide awake during those hours, working, alone, in buildings that feel very different, when the rest of the world is sleeping. This is the story of 27-year-old Marcus Webb, a night shift security guard at a large warehouse facility in Memphis, Tennessee. A man who loved the quiet of the night shift until the night he realized he wasn't alone in that building, and whatever was in there with him had been there for a very long time. Marcus had worked night shift security for 4 years, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., alone in a 200,000 square foot warehouse. Just him, the cameras, and the silence. He was used to it. He actually preferred it. No co-workers, no managers, no noise. Just him walking his rounds every hour, checking doors, checking cameras, writing his log. Simple, peaceful, easy money, until September 2022, when things stopped being simple. It started with the camera on aisle 7. Every night around 3 a.m., the camera would go to static for exactly 90 seconds, then come back on like nothing happened. Marcus reported it to his supervisor. Maintenance checked the camera, said it was fine. The static kept happening every night. 3 a.m. aisle 7. Marcus started paying attention to aisle 7 during his rounds. He walked it carefully every night at 2:45, right before the static hit. Nothing there, just shelving units stacked with boxes, dark, quiet, empty. But one night, he noticed something. The boxes on the third shelf of Unit 7C were in a different order than the night before. He was certain of it. He had walked that aisle every single night for months. He knew exactly how those boxes sat. Someone had moved them. Marcus set up his personal phone on a small ledge at the end of aisle 7, pointed at Unit 7C, recording. He did his rounds as normal, came back at 6 a.m., checked the footage. For the first 3 hours, nothing, just the empty aisle, silent and still. Then, at 3:02 a.m., the warehouse lights flickered, and a figure stepped out from behind Unit 7C, tall, thin, wearing dark clothing, moving slowly down the aisle. Marcus watched the footage with his mouth open. The figure walked to the end of aisle 7, stopped, and looked directly at the camera, like it knew it was there, like it had always known. It stood there for exactly 90 seconds, then walked back behind Unit 7C and disappeared. The same 90 seconds the security camera went to static. Every single night, Marcus called the police immediately. 2 officers came and searched the entire warehouse, every aisle, every corner, every storage room. They found nothing. No signs of forced entry. No signs of anyone sleeping on the premises. No food, no belongings, nothing. One officer suggested it might be a former employee, someone who still had access. Marcus requested the full access log from his supervisor. He wanted to see every keycard scan, every entry and exit. His supervisor sent it over that afternoon. Marcus went through it carefully and found something that made no sense. Every night at exactly 3 a.m., a keycard was scanning into the building, badge number 1147. Marcus didn't recognize the number. He asked his supervisor whose badge that was. His supervisor went very quiet, then said, "That badge was deactivated 3 years ago." Marcus asked why. Another long silence. Then his supervisor said quietly, "The employee it belonged to died on the premises, in aisle 7, 3 years ago this month." Marcus quit that night. He handed in his resignation at 6 a.m. and never went back. But before he left, he pulled up the camera footage one last time. He went back through 3 months of recordings. Every night at 3 a.m. Every night the same figure, standing at the end of aisle 7, watching the camera for 90 seconds. Every single night for 3 months, while Marcus walked his rounds just one aisle over. Never knowing, never seeing. Then Marcus noticed something he had missed before. Something that made him close the laptop immediately. On the nights he had walked aisle 7 at 2:45, checking the boxes. The figure was already there, standing completely still at the far end, in the darkness, watching him every single time. The warehouse is still operating today. New security company, new guards. Marcus heard through a former colleague that the new night shift guard lasted 3 weeks. He quit without giving a reason. The guard after him lasted 2 weeks. Same thing. The position has turned over 11 times in the last year. Nobody stays past a month. Nobody says exactly why. But Marcus knows, because every single one of them works alone in that building. At 3 a.m., when the camera on aisle 7 goes to static for exactly 90 seconds. If you work the night shift, you already know that feeling. The one that hits around 3 a.m. when the building gets too quiet, when you hear something you can't explain, when you feel eyes on you, but there's nobody there. Trust that feeling, because Marcus didn't for 3 months. He walked right past it every single night, and whatever was standing in that darkness was watching him the whole time, waiting, just waiting for him to look. You lock your doors at night. You check your windows. You feel safe inside your own home, because home is supposed to be the one place where nothing can reach you. But what if someone was already inside? Not breaking in, not forcing entry, already there, living in the spaces you never check, watching you from the darkness while you went about your normal life. This is the story of 33-year-old Ryan Becker from Portland, Oregon, and the discovery that made him never feel safe again. Not anywhere, not ever. Ryan had lived alone in his house for 3 years. 2-story home, quiet neighborhood, good locks. He worked from home as a freelance graphic designer, which meant he was inside that house almost every single day. He knew every sound that house made, every creak, every groan, every settling noise. He thought he knew that house completely. In October 2022, Ryan started noticing small things. Food going missing from his kitchen. Not much, just small amounts. Half a loaf of bread, some leftovers from the fridge. He assumed he had eaten it and forgotten. He was forgetful. Always had been. He ignored it. Then he noticed the smell, faint, coming from the hallway near the basement door, like someone had been living in a small space, stale air, body odor. He checked the basement. Nothing looked out of place. He told himself the smell was from old boxes, damp storage. He ignored it. In November, Ryan was on a video call with a client. Late afternoon, living room couch. He was facing the hallway, and in the middle of his call, he saw a shadow move. At the end of the hallway, near the basement door, he stopped mid-sentence, stared at the hallway. Nothing. His client asked if he was okay. Ryan said yes. He finished the call quickly. Then he sat very still on that couch and listened. The house was completely silent. He told himself it was the light changing outside, a cloud passing over the sun. He ignored it. But that night, he couldn't sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, and at 2 a.m., he heard it. A sound from below. Soft, careful, deliberate, like someone trying very hard not to be heard. Ryan grabbed the baseball bat he kept under his bed. He crept downstairs slowly, every light in the house on. He checked every room, kitchen, living room, bathroom, nothing. He stood at the basement door, hand on the handle. Heart pounding, he opened it, shone his flashlight down the stairs. The basement looked exactly as it always did. Old boxes, shelving units, water heater. He went down slowly, checked every corner. Nothing. He went back to bed, told himself he was losing his mind. But the next morning, he found something he had missed. Behind the large shelving unit against the far wall, there was a gap he had never noticed before. He moved the shelving unit, and behind it was a door, a small door, leading to a crawl space he never knew existed. The door was unlocked. He opened it slowly, and shone his flashlight inside. What Ryan found in that crawl space changed everything. A sleeping bag, a backpack, empty food containers, a phone charger plugged into an outlet in the wall, a small notebook. Ryan picked up the notebook with shaking hands. He opened it. It was a schedule, his schedule, written in someone else's handwriting. What time he woke up, what time he started work, what time he ate lunch, what time he went to bed. Weeks of observations, weeks of someone watching him from inside the walls of his own home. And at the back of the notebook, a single page with one sentence written on it. Over and over again, the same sentence, 30 or 40 times. It said, "He still doesn't know I'm here." Ryan ran out of that house and called 911 from his car. Police searched the property immediately. The person was gone. But forensic evidence suggested someone had been living in that crawl space for approximately 6 to 8 weeks. The fingerprints did not match anyone in the criminal database. The backpack contained no ID, no phone, no identifying information. Whoever had been living inside Ryan's home was never identified, was never found. The case remains open to this day. Ryan sold the house 2 months later. He now lives in an apartment on the 4th floor. No basement, no crawl space, no hidden doors. He told a reporter last year, "People ask me what the scariest part was, and I always say the same thing. It wasn't finding the crawl space. It wasn't the sleeping bag or the food containers. It was the schedule. Knowing that someone had sat in the dark, just a few feet away from me, and watched me live my life every single day, and I never once knew they were there. Before you go to sleep tonight, think about the spaces in your home you never check. The crawl space, the attic, the storage room in the back. When did you last really look inside them?" Because Ryan thought he knew his house completely. He had lived there for 3 years, and someone was living inside it with him for almost 2 months, right beneath his feet, listening to every word he said, watching every move he made. In the house he thought was his alone. Check your home tonight, all of it, every corner, every door, every space. Because the one you haven't checked might not be empty. Parents worry about everything. Is my child eating enough, sleeping enough, happy enough? We watch them closely. We listen carefully. We tell ourselves we would notice if something was wrong. But what if the thing that was wrong was something you couldn't explain, something you couldn't see, something that was talking to your child every single night. This is the story of 36-year-old James Calloway from Nashville, Tennessee, a father who wished he had listened sooner. James was a single dad, raising his 4-year-old daughter Lily alone. Her mother had passed away when Lily was just 18 months old. James did everything for that little girl, everything. They moved into a new house in March 2021. Fresh start, new neighborhood, good school nearby. Lily seemed happy. She loved her new room, especially her closet. She called it her special door. James thought it was cute, a child's imagination. He had no idea how wrong he was. 2 weeks after moving in, James noticed Lily talking in her room at night. After bedtime, he assumed she was talking to her stuffed animals. Kids do that. But one night he stood outside her door and listened, and he realized something strange. She wasn't just talking, she was having a conversation, asking questions, waiting, then responding, like someone was answering her. James opened the door quietly. Lily was sitting on the floor, facing the closet. The closet door was open slightly, just a crack. "Lily," James kept his voice calm. "Who are you talking to?" Lily looked up at him and smiled. "My friend," she said simply, "in the special door." James looked at the closet. Dark inside, quiet. He opened it fully. Just her clothes, her shoes, her little backpack. Nothing else. "There's nobody there, baby," he said. Lily looked at the closet, then back at her dad. "She says you can't see her," Lily said, "but she can see you." James told himself it was an imaginary friend. Every child has one, perfectly normal. He put Lily back to bed and went downstairs, but he couldn't shake the feeling. The way Lily had said it, so casually, so matter of fact. She says you can't see her, but she can see you. Over the next 2 weeks, the conversations continued every night. James started recording through the baby monitor. He wanted to hear what Lily was saying. He listened to the recordings every morning. Lily's side of the conversation was always clear. She would ask questions. "Are you lonely? Why can't you go outside? Does it hurt?" And then silence, like she was listening to answers only she could hear. Until one night, the recording picked up something else. James almost missed it. A sound underneath Lily's voice, faint, distant, like someone speaking from very far away, or from inside a wall. He turned the volume all the way up and listened. It was a voice, a woman's voice, whispering. He couldn't make out the words at first. He listened 4 times, 5 times, then on the 6th, "Listen." He heard it clearly. The voice was whispering, "Tell him I'm sorry." James sat completely still for a long time. Then he picked up his phone and called his mother. He asked her one question. "Did anyone die in this house before we moved in?" His mother didn't know, but she told him to call the previous owner. James tracked down the real estate agent and asked directly. The agent was quiet for a moment, then said yes. A woman had passed away in that house 2 years before, in the master bedroom. Her name was Carol Simmons. She had lived alone, no family, no children. James asked one more question, his voice barely above a whisper. "Where in the master bedroom?" the agent said. "In the walk-in closet. They found her in the closet." James looked up at the ceiling. Directly above him was Lily's room. James had the house blessed by a priest the following week. He moved Lily's room to the other side of the house. The conversations stopped immediately. Lily never mentioned her closet friend again. James asked her once, carefully, what her friend used to talk about. Lily thought for a moment, then said, "She was sad, Daddy. She said she missed her little girl." James frowned. "She had a little girl?" Lily nodded. "She said she never got to say goodbye." James went back to the real estate agent. He asked about Carol Simmons, if she had any children. The agent checked the records, then called James back an hour later, voice quiet, almost uncomfortable. "Mr. Calloway, Carol Simmons had one daughter. The daughter was adopted at birth. Carol never found her. She spent her whole life looking." James didn't say anything. The agent continued, "Mr. Calloway, is there anything else you need?" James looked up at the ceiling again, at the room directly above him, where his 4-year-old daughter had spent 2 weeks talking to someone in the closet. He thought about what Lily had said. She was sad, Daddy. She said she missed her little girl. And he thought about something else, something he had never told anyone, something he hadn't thought about in years. His late wife, Lily's mother, had been adopted. She had never known her birth mother. She had spent her whole life wanting to find her. James closed his eyes and whispered, "She found you. Lily is 9 years old now. She doesn't remember the closet friend. James has never told her the full story. He keeps the baby monitor recording saved on a hard drive. He has listened to it once since that night. Just once. The woman's voice, whispering, 'Tell him I'm sorry.' He thinks about it every single day, because he believes now that Carol Simmons wasn't haunting that house. She was waiting in it, waiting for her daughter to come home. And in the end, part of her did."